Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Ever heard the one about the tax auditor who was having a hard time sleeping? He decided to make it even and started to sleep like a tax evader. Now on to the day's business. We're taking a lighthearted look back at the South African Revenue Service, or SARS for short, as they celebrate their 30th anniversary. That's right, for 30 years, SARS has been the friend who never forgets to remind you about that money you owe them. Formed from the ashes of apartheid-era revenue services, SARS has grown to be a key player in the country's development. It's like watching a toddler grow up to be a tax-collecting Superman. Over the past 30 years, SARS has collected a whopping 21.6 trillion in net tax revenues. That's a lot of zeros, folks. If every one of those rand were a grain of sand, we'd have a pretty decent beach. And they didn't stop at just collecting taxes. Oh no, SARS went from a manual, paper-based system to a modern, tech-savvy entity faster than you can say tax evasion. With initiatives like e-filing and the Siaka program, they've streamlined processes and improved taxpayer services. It's like they took the pain out of painstaking. But it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Like a seasoned sailor, SARS has weathered its fair share of storms, including the gale force winds of state capture. But through it all, they've remained steadfast, focusing on broadening the tax base and enhancing compliance through legislative changes and service improvements. They're the little tax engine that could. In the end, SARS has done more than just collect taxes. They've contributed to nation building and sustaining democracy. It's like they're the financial superheroes of South Africa, minus the cool costumes and secret identities. So here's to SARS, the tax-collecting, nation-building, democracy-sustaining machine. May the next 30 years be filled with even more achievements and fewer challenges. And remember, like a good friend, they'll always remind you of that money you owe them. Until next time, remember to keep your sense of humor, especially when it comes to taxes. Because as Benjamin Franklin once said, in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. And at least taxes happen annually.